This is a meeting of the Athens Board of Zoning Appeals. The time is 7:02 p.m. and the date is February 10, 2015. At this time, I will call the meeting to order. The board consists of 5 members and 2 alternates, the alternates taking full part in the discussions and becoming a voting member in the absence of a member or when a member abstains for conflict of interest. Present tonight are members Ms. Betty Hollow, Ms. Kate Housley, Ms. Joan Kleinanski, and Ms. Lisa Carson, and alternates are Mr. Ed Baum and Ms. Ellen Salto. I am John Golsey, the chair. Also present are zoning administrator Mr. John Paskey and secretary Mr. Paul Eschenbacher. At this time, I invite you to view a pre-recorded video on the rules and the procedures of the board.
The Athens Board of Zoning Appeals operates according to the following procedure. The chair will name and describe the case. The zoning administrator or secretary will state the basis of the objection and any applicable facts or conditions pertaining to the case. The appellant or their representative will give reason why the appeal should be viewed favorably. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the request will be heard. Anyone wishing to speak in general comment will be heard. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition will be heard. If necessary, the appellant or their representative will offer concluding, summary, or rebuttal remarks. Testimony from the floor shall be closed. The board will deliberate and render a decision. According to Athens City Code, Section 23.07.03b, the board has power to grant variances from the strict application of the code, provided the variance will not be contrary to the public interest, the spirit of the code is observed, public safety and welfare are secured, and substantial justice is done. According to Athens City Code, Section 23.07.10c, variances from the code shall not be granted unless the board makes specific findings of fact based directly on the particular evidence presented to it, that the standards and conditions imposed in this title, if applicable, have been met by the applicant. Exceptional circumstances. There are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties or classes or uses in the same zone. Practical difficulty and undue hardship. Because of exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions pertaining to a specific piece of property, a literal enforcement of these regulations will result in practical difficulty or undue hardship that is unnecessary to the achievement of public purposes. Preservation of equal property rights. Literal interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone and the same vicinity, while a granting of the requested variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other properties in the same zone and the same vicinity. Minimum variance. The variance granted is the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property. Absence of detriment. The authorizing of such variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property and will not materially impair the purpose of the zoning code or the public interest. Not of a general nature. The condition or situation of the specific piece of property or the intended use of said property for which variance is sought, one or the other or in combination, is not of so general or recurrent a nature as to make reasonably practicable the formulation of a general regulation for such condition or situation. Any person, resident, or officer, department, or appointed body of the City of Athens, aggrieved by a decision of the board, may petition the Athens County Court of Common Pleas concerning the illegality of the decision. Such petition must be filed within 30 days after the mailing of the decision of the board to the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you. There's only one case tonight on the agenda, and that's case number 15-1V. The board is required to take testimony under oath. Would anyone wishing to speak concerning any item on the agenda please stand? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you will present to the board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please be seated. Thank you. And our cases tonight is case number 15-1V, the property at 71 Grosvenor Street. And Mr. Steve Marcus and Jamie Stricker are the appellants. And the zone is R1. Appellants are requesting a variance from ACC 2310, Table B, off-street parking requirements to allow a single rental unit with 2 tenants and 1
The Athens
parking
Board of
space
Zoning Appeals operates
where a
according to the
minimum
following
of 2
procedure.
parking spaces is required. Sorry, we have a little bit of technical problem. Mr. Paskey, would you like to add anything more to this?
I think you summed it up. In case you couldn't hear, it's 2 tenants, 1 parking space, where a minimum of 2 parking spaces is required.
Okay.
Is this a good time to ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, my question is giving a rental permit to this property a change of use?
Is it a change of use?
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily a change of use, but it is required to have, rental properties are required to have a minimum of 2 parking spaces.
Okay. So what I'm asking is, would be a new rental?
That is correct.
Okay. And if it weren't changing to a slightly different use, would the parking situation they now have be grandfathered?
The parking situation, single-family residential properties, owner-occupied, are required to have 2 parking spaces, but this one is grandfathered.
Okay. So that grandfathering would not accompany this
When it becomes a
change
rental,
from
no.
owner-occupied to a rental?
Correct.
So that's why they're here?
That is correct.
Okay, because it's a change of use. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Paskey?
Just a quick one. I see we had a previous refusal besides this refusal, and that one indicated that they were requesting 4 tenants
Yes.
and with 1 parking place, and then a month later they came back and requested 2 tenants with 1 parking place.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Paskey, I guess I asked a question from Mr. Eschenbacher just not too long ago. I want to make sure that if this was a private home occupied by a single family, 1 space is sufficient, right?
The code requires 2.
But because this is grandfathered,
Okay.
in this particular instance, it's only new construction that you have to
Okay.
have a minimum
New
of
con-
2.
you mentioned
Or
that.
changing a private home to a rental.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, it's your chance to come to the podium and state your case. And please mention your name and your address for the record.
My name is Jamie Strecker,
My name is Steve Mokris.
and we live at 8620 Elliottsville Road in Athens. We previously lived at the property in question, 71 Grosvenor Street. We lived there for several years. We've had the house up for sale for the past year and a half, and we're looking to get a rental permit so that we can have that open as an option. The only problem with that is that we can only provide 1 of the 2 required parking spaces because of how the house is situated. But for part of the time that we lived there before, we had 2 cars, and we could usually find a parking spot near the house, especially because almost across the street from the house is the long stretch with the retaining wall that the city installed a few years ago. So there are no houses along there, and there's often parking there. So we think that granting this variance would not be a detriment to our neighborhood.
You said several years you've been living there, or you lived there, because you purchased the property in 2012, right?
I was the original purchaser of the property in
You need to get
2008.
closer to the mic or speak up.
Sorry. In 2008, I purchased the property.
Oh, okay.
And we amended the
Title.
the title in 2012.
Okay. Yes.
When you filed your first request for a variance back in November, you requested an occupancy of 4. I'm assuming you feel that there, or you felt at the time you did that, that there was sufficient room for 4 occupants, 4 rental units, 4 bedrooms?
That was kind of a mistake. We didn't really understand what was allowed in our neighborhood, or what the norm was for rentals.
Right, but you felt
Yeah.
that there was sufficient room in that house for 4 renters, correct? I guess that's what I'm getting at.
Oh,
The house has 4 bedrooms.
Right, okay. And now you're only requesting
Two.
2 tenants, correct?
Yes.
As a follow-up question, don't you think that this property could be used better with maybe a single family of maybe 4 or 5, if you have the room for it, rather than renting it to 2? Or is there an issue with selling the place to a?
Yeah, I guess given currently the neighborhood is made up of a mixture of student rental houses and owner-occupied family residences, and I guess ideally for the makeup of that neighborhood, it might be preferable to have it owned by a single family. However, in the past year and a half that it's been on the market, we've been unable to find a single family to occupy the house.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
That's really for John. The houses on Grosvenor that are rentals currently, would those all have been grandfathered, or do you have a situation like this where a variance was granted?
Some are probably in the old code, they've been rentals for long enough when it was not one-to-one parking. Others probably received variances or not.
I'm just trying to remember of any new recent rentals on, or conversions to rentals on Grosvenor recently. I can't.
Like, I might comment in the past, I know that since I've been on the board, we've had at least 2 requests for variance, and both of those were denied.
Yeah. One of those was just
Yeah.
down the road a little bit, 108 Grosvenor. That request was, they had no parking. At first, they asked to have no parking, and that was denied. And then they asked to have a driveway that was too skinny to be built down next to the house, behind the house, and that was denied at 108. In answer to your question, I think I would say over half of the rentals on Grosvenor probably do not meet current parking regulations and are grandfathered. Like I said, off the top of my head, I can't think of any recent conversions on Grosvenor, but if there have been, I don't remember them needing any parking variances.
Okay.
Grosvenor or Franklin?
Maybe Franklin.
Was that Franklin? We had one.
So let me ask our attendants here another question. So you plan on selling the house, if this variance was granted, you would not maintain ownership and be responsible for the rental? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Our primary interest in pursuing the rental permit is as a means to sell the house.
Okay.
We've had several prospective buyers who have expressed interest in the house, but were less interested because of the fact that it does not have, or it does not currently meet the requirements for having a rental permit. So if that were to be an option for a potential buyer, that would be more attractive.
Is the garage usable?
Yes.
When you lived there, did you park in the garage?
Yes.
Okay.
On the same token, if somebody is interested to purchase their property for rental, they probably would like to have a variance for more, like 4 maybe. Otherwise, why would they be
Well, you
interested?
couldn't have 4.
I know, but what would they be interested in purchasing if there's only a permit for 2?
That's true.
Well, because it's a rental property, you
Yeah.
could make money off, you know what I
And
mean?
it has 2 extra bedrooms that you could perhaps
Right.
not be quite up and up about.
I mean, anyway, yeah.
Any other questions for the appellants? You may be seated. Thank you.
I'd like to pose a question to Mr. Paskey.
Sure.
My difficulty with this is there's 4 bedrooms. They're only requesting a variance for 2. And I guess I'd like you to confirm that it's difficult for code to verify over occupancy because it requires a 24-hour notice before you can go and check.
No, I won't confirm that. I think we've been doing a pretty good job of doing the best we can to prevent over-occupancy from happening. I've done a few things to try to do that. I'd like to not elaborate on how and why. It's kind of a little trade of the secret, or secret of the trade, but I think we're doing a pretty good job at that. So,
Okay, so that was not a lot of information.
well, you asked me to confirm that we're not doing anything about it.
Well, in the past, no, I didn't. I want to confirm that it's difficult.
It is difficult, but we've
to
got,
assess a situation like that.
there's ways that we are right now.
So if I come to your office tomorrow, you give me a list of those properties that you've managed to, because in the past, that has been my understanding from what you said, that it was
We have a folder
difficult.
of houses that have been issues within the last, year or two since the code ad hoc committee wanted evidence that we were doing something about it, and we have been.
They
A
have
few.
cameras all over town now.
I see it. I can see it now.
Well, I'll ask a question in the same line, but a little bit different. So how often would you typically, what's the schedule for inspecting rental
We
properties?
do an annual inspection, as we call it, but it's actually taking about 15, 16 months. So basically, you're getting inspected 4 times in a 5-year period.
Okay. And for you to deviate from that schedule, would you have to get some information? Sort of, would somebody call and say there are too many people living in that house? Could you check it? And then you would go outside of the regular
If we had a
schedule?
complaint,
Okay.
we would look into it, but
Okay.
I don't want to really say how we're doing it. so.
I'm not asking you how, I'm just asking you, if there were 20 people living next door to me in what's supposed to be a family house, I would call you. So I know that is one way that you could get complaints from neighbors or people.
Right.
And then inspect. But otherwise, on a regular system, a house would not be inspected even quite once a year.
Right.
A year and a half, something, well, not quite
Not quite
that much.
that, but
Okay. Okay.
I
I
can't
think-
give away our secret.
I think Ms. Kronansky and I are worried about the same thing. So,
Any other questions? Discussions? I just feel that since we are concerned about the property itself, that this property can be put in better use with, in a single family maybe, but, and also the issues that you brought up, those are always, could be the possible cases. Okay, if there's no discussions anymore, we need a motion.
maybe they want to say something else before you.
There was nobody
Well,
opposing?
no, but do you have anything you want to add? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Would you like now to make a motion?
I would love to make a motion. I move that we grant a variance to the property at 71 Grosvenor Street from ACC 2310, Table B, off-street parking requirements, to allow a single rental unit with 2 tenants and 1 parking space, where a minimum of 2 parking spaces is required.
A second.
Okay, let's go through the findings. exceptional circumstances. There are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties or classes or uses in the same zone.
Well, we usually say that it's exceptional if there's something about the lot. It's either angled or too small or sloped or has big rocks or something. Except that, in your case, everybody along that side of the street has the same circumstance, which lessens the exceptionality of your own case.
On the other hand, it talks about not on the same street, but in the same zone. The
That's
zone
kind
is
of
really
broad.
That's
quite
what we
large.
earlier discussed.
It's
Something
not
we need
just
to discuss
the
with
north,
him.
the west side of the street. It's,
Right.
you have to look at all the, basically, R1 zones, and it's
We're
very
not
large.
going to look at the whole, you mean that whole zone? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is large, but
All encompassed.
yes, but very few people along that street have enough space to park 2 cars.
That's true.
And many of them have sloped lots.
From this side, any discussion?
So I see that the public purpose, I'm going to go my route here, in an R1 is to have it's
I don't think that's a route you can take, Joe.
I know, I lost my train of thought, right?
Public
I'll
safety.
save it for later,
Okay.
I think.
So Betty,
I'm
you
always jumping
say
ahead.
there was exceptional circumstances or
I
not?
said there would be. We would normally say a steeply sloped lot
Right.
is a special circumstance.
But not in the vicinity.
But if everybody else has the
Yeah.
same circumstance, how is it exceptional?
Okay.
Mostly other people, I'm not saying
Yeah.
everybody. did.
A practical difficulty and undue hardship. Because of exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions pertaining to the specific piece of property, the literal enforcement of these regulations will result in practical difficulty or undue hardship that is unnecessary to the achievement of the public purposes. I know you mentioned in your letter that putting a space in the front is not good for the foundation and also costly. Of course, we don't care about the cost, but I agree with you, at least I do, that that may not be the best place for putting a parking space. So that is a difficulty. On the other hand, I think this property could be used with a single family owner occupied.
It still require 2
Yeah.
parking
No,
spaces.
because it's grandfathered.
Well, because it's
As
grandfathered. It's not a change of use
owner-occupied
in that
house,
case.
It's grandfathered.
So I think
I don't see the undue hardship if it's kept as a single family.
yeah.
There is none, right.
Right, I don't-
Correct, right, exactly.
Preservation of equal property rights, literal interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone and the same vicinity, while the granting of the requested variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other properties in the same zone and the same vicinity. Again, we have others in the same zone and vicinity in the same
Right, but they have
situation.
there are rentals in the same vicinity, but because they were grandfathered.
Yeah.
Right. And they're
Right, and under the new
grandfathered
code,
because
we-
the code changed.
The cone shades, right.
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 And it changes for a reason, because people see things differently and
Yes.
the environment
Well,
changes.
and because parking became more and more and more of a problem.
Right.
As more people moved into streets that were, houses were built a long time ago, close together, steep lots, no parking.
Is this request for the variance the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property? Is this minimum?
No,
No.
because it can presumably be sold to a single
Right.
family.
Right, yes, if it were granted.
Are we saying that the only possible use of the property is owner occupied?
No, just have one renter maybe.
Without a variance, yeah.
One renter requires 2 parking
Two
spaces.
parking
Oh, it's still
Yeah,
required.
So it would have to be
So it has to be owner
So
occupied.
this is
a
the
single,
minimum.
a family.
That's the
Yeah.
only use that
This is-
we think that
Basically.
is
That we
reasonable
are-
for that property.
Yeah, yeah.
Under the parking circumstances, yeah.
Absence of detriment. The authorizing of such variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property and will not materially impair the purpose of the zoning code or the public interest. Joe?
Well, it's parking, you know. I think the parking is the issue, and, I mean, when I pulled in there to look at the place, I parked half in a no parking zone and half in a parking zone. That was the only place I could find in the afternoon, so, I guess, adding another vehicle to the street there, I wouldn't have had a place to park. So I guess in the public interest, we're maintaining what we have now, but to add more to that burden would not be in the public interest.
Not of a general nature. The conditions or situations of the specific piece of property or the intended use of the said property for which variance is sought, one or the other, or in combination, is not of so general or recurrent in nature as to make reasonably practicable the formulation of a general regulation of such conditions or situations. And the answer is no. Okay, any further discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor of the variance, please raise your hand. All in opposition, please raise your hand. Okay, I'm sorry you don't have your variance. Thank you.
I hope you will find a buyer. With a small car.
Okay, we have a couple of items on the agenda left. Deposition of the minutes from December 9, 2014. I guess there was only one typo which we brought to the attention of Mr. Eschenbacher, and he corrected it. So, you were not listed on that one as a present member. So, motion to approve the minutes of December 9.
I move.
All in favor? Raise your hand. All. You don't want to vote?
I don't
You
know.
were not-
I wasn't
Oh,
She
here.
wasn't here.
And this is the month of February when we elect a new chair. And I have been in touch with all of you and asked to express your interest.
And you got zilch, right?
And so where do we stand now?
We're interested in having you remain chair for another year.
Do you want to remain chair for another year?
I will be happy to, but as we said last year, it's good to rotate and give an experience to everyone. I have some items on my agenda which I fulfilled, I guess. If you have any fresh ideas or things that you want to pursue.
1 year is not enough to get your fresh ideas out to us, so we
Okay.
want to give you another year.
We want to hear your stale ideas.
So somebody has to make a motion, I believe. I can't make a motion for myself, so.
I move that John Galsey remain chair for the next 12 months.
Okay.
12 years.
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Acclamation.
I have one
If we
quick
could vote, we'd
announcement.
vote also.
I have one quick announcement before you leave. As you may remember, we had the case here a few months ago for the Rivergate project, and the Summit at Coach Run filed a suit against that. The judge ruled that they did not have standing, so it has been dismissed for now. They can always appeal, but for this moment, it has been dismissed. So I thought I'd let you know.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I move.
Oh, was that
Okay.
turned off?